Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world, and the BBC is reporting that between Russia and Ukraine, the EU is warning Moscow of severe cost of aggression. CISA, or the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency director, says the Log4j security flaw is the most serious she's seen in her career. Log4j is very broadly used in a variety of consumer and enterprise services, websites, and applications, as well as in operational technology products to log security and performance information. An unauthenticated remote actor could exploit this vulnerability to take control of an affected system. On the industry side, Pfizer is to buy Arena Pharmaceuticals at a 100% premium in a $6.7 billion deal. And CRISPR pioneers Doudna and Banfield introduce microbiome community editing. That relates to our human-in-the-loop curation interfaces. South African crowd-solving startup Zendi is building a community of data scientists and using AI to solve real-world problems, also related to community editing and human-in-the-loop curation. On a related note, Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, is announcing a new company called New Limit, a company built to extend human lifespan. The Japan Times is reporting that Japanese scientists develop a vaccine to eliminate cells behind aging. CNBC is reporting Voyager Space CEO says space travel will become commonplace. And finally, under industry, scientists unveiled drug discovery tool to screen more than 11 billion compounds. Next, moving on to themes and events. Our first theme that we're tracking is the Reddit IPO and its ripple effects, positive ripple effects, potentially to other stocks and other cryptos. And then, of course, cybersecurity. That is an ongoing theme. And the Log4j incident looks to be capitalized on in terms of baskets of publicly traded companies and companies that are in the cryptocurrency space related to protecting and keeping things secure. Pfizer is to buy Arena at the 100% premium in that $6.7 billion deal, and creating a basket of stocks related to Arena Pharmaceuticals would have been very wise. You can join more talk about thematic baskets on our Thematic Baskets channel on Telegram. Moving on to Corp. Under HR, we're continuing hiring and looking for new staff engineers. You'll see new job recs posted here and at other job requisition sites. On the legal side, we are looking to finalize a couple Y Combinator safe agreements to close on a round of capital, and that will take us to another level. That will also speed up our facilities process in terms of locating headquarters that will provide the ability to build out a wet lab. On the engineering, product, QA, and ops side, we are focused on surgical engineering operations, and number one, that includes dataset design. And the dataset we're designing is in collaboration with Imperial College of London and University College of London, and it relates to a real-time protein relationship network. We are involved in the design of the schema for the dataset and the parameters involved in the design schema. The parameters are very important because we're going to measure signal by modeling those parameters. Our team at UCL is going to look into creating a couple of mathematical models that will model the parameters for our dataset design. Then we're going to move to targeting the data sources, coming up with a list of data sources that we'll need to build targeted crawlers for, and that will move us to stage one in terms of data acquisition and releasing those targeted crawlers and talking to APIs and moving around raw tar.gz files and engaging in the beginning of online learning methodology or real-time model learning, to have your machine learning model learn in real time. As new data comes in, it's reflected in the results or the final relationship network behind the model. And of course, the data sets in between. And then we'll move to a stage of data transformation, which includes pre-processing, input file generation, language modelers, post-processing, and dataset generation. And then a stage 2 section in our pipeline, which will include real-time relationship network visualization and data interpretation, and then leading to new hypotheses that may be validated in the lab or validated with existing knowledge networks or ontologies. And then stage 3 will move us to mathematically modeling the entire design of the data engineering pipeline, not just the design of the data set. And some of the components that fall out of this would be knowledge graphs initially, which are no big deal, but what you can do with knowledge graphs, like validate your probabilistic graphs, is pretty important. Ontologies and the automated generation of ontologies, controlled vocabularies, graph networks, and graph network databases, including CosmoDB and graph neural networking. Also included would be components we can use for our relationship networks that we're building for CERN. And primarily, that would be the work we're doing with Imperial College of London related to the abstract and poster connected to real-time protein relationship networks. We are also engaged with CSSI. This is the company that's engaged in combing through scientific literature related to entertainment content. And we're looking at new summarization methods with them. The new summarization methods include extracting topics from documents and generating multiple summaries per document. And of course, everything we do with summarization modules applies to every other company and every other industry, including the legal technology industry, which we are continuing to address. Next, we'll move on to the Thematic Baskets Crypto API. And we are still testing this over the weekend. We're going to term it the Thematic Crypto Baskets API for the time being as a placeholder name we're going to brand. It may change, but for now that's what it is. And we're going to measure relevancy through this extended QA and testing process we're engaged in. And we're also going to measure for precision, accuracy, and overall efficacy in terms of gains. So we're going to see if we can run as many historical backtests as possible before we release. This is going to push us into next Tuesday in terms of releasing this. We'd like to release over the weekend, but it looks like we'll be talking to the world about this on Tuesday, and that's the best we can do at this point. We want a solid product. It's best for us to roll out with a product that is not just robust, but providing a level of relevancy that is beyond acceptable. One of the other reasons for that is we're going to be showcasing it to our current financial markets partners, including Morningstar and S&P. Next, we'll move on to customers, partners, and collaborators, and all are on track. With ICL, Imperial College of London, we have a January 6th deadline coming up related to the submission of the abstract and poster for presentation on February 19th. With UCL, University College of London, we're building out our AI team there with their Center for Artificial Intelligence and a few of their staff. We are going to be looking forward to publishing a paper with the staff over there at UCL with their AI department. We are also adding NASA as a collaborator and partner. And that would mean that on the partner basis and collaborator basis, it's going to go beyond just data. We are looking to apply for a grant, and this is based on a proposal that we'll be submitting. First, we have to put some work into this proposal and build it out. It's related to space biosciences and language models applied to biomedical text. So that's right up our alley. So what that means is that we'll have applied for our first government grant in space biosciences for a space biosciences contract. So that'll be a milestone for the company. The actual granting of that contract will be yet to be seen. But we, as far as we're concerned, we are the most qualified outfit to take on something like that at this point. Next, we'll move on to corporate development, business development, sales, and marketing. And February 19th, as mentioned, that will engage. We'll be engaging with 5,000 members of the Biophysical Society during their annual meeting as we present a joint poster with Imperial College of London and the Bruce Lab. Next, we'll move on to IR, PR, and Marcom. And the thematic crypto baskets PR is next, so look for that next week. There may be announcements related to our work with scientific collaborators in February, possibly in December, or possibly in January. At this point, it's looking more along the lines of the end of January into February. We can't be sure because we're not in control of others' PR pipelines. And it looks like we will be adding to our scientific advisory board, so we'll have announcements queued up for that. On the exchanges side, everything is on track. Next, we'll move on to our questions from the trader base. Question 1. Has the team confirmed that they would be providing an official method to lease VXV, or were you just sharing an idea conceptually? Initially, it was an idea that we shared conceptually. Since then, we've refined it into a set of product requirements. Question 2. Does Vectorspace have any new patent applications pending, or if they intend on adding any more to their patent portfolio in the future? Our primary objective is to accelerate the process of discovery, and patents tend to slow that process down, while opening a company to the risk of exposing proprietary methods in the initial provisional patent filing. This is one reason companies choose to keep proprietary methods as trade secrets. Keeping data open, shareable, and reproducible in science is one of the best ways to quicken the pace of discovery. We understand the value of patent portfolios as we have a patent portfolio today. However, if we foresee that patenting a proprietary method may inhibit or slow the process of scientific discovery, we won't pursue it. We'll only allow it if it speeds that process up. In the end, our largest shareholder is the human race. Question 3. Will Harvard University be in connection with VXV2? That's very likely. So we'll say in time, and also say that we do have connections at Harvard Medical School. Question 4. Of the funds that you have coming in at the moment, is any of that funding currently used to buy back tokens? We're going to leave that undecided for now. Question 5. Why doesn't Vectorspace approach a company like Ameritrade and offer one-click thematic investing in stocks as well? Well, that was one of our first objectives, to go to traditional market exchanges and offer an API. That, we found, was quite an uphill battle, and the sales cycles would have been much longer than operating in crypto, offering smart baskets, as we used to call them. So we backed off from that. we also recognized a risk, and that was saturation. We thought that if we saturated retail, we wouldn't gain traction with institutions in terms of offering data sets that powered these baskets that retail would instantly have access to based on our data, based on an API that would interface with our data sets. Question 6. How much data can be carried on a single gigahash? 1,000 megahashes. And how will it carry compressed data as opposed to raw? And will it carry compressed data as opposed to raw? The answer is yes. Question 7. Is there a plan soon that will have DApp to show all the data sets created? This idea later can be developed and used for staking, platform, and other development as well, including dataset transactions. No. Question 8. I have 2 questions for this week's conference call. In your recent AMA session with Joshua Jake, you stated that you had encountered hesitancy from hedge funds when they were presented with the prospect of holding VXV in their books. Did this refer to Morningstar or S&P Global? If not, what was the reaction from the 2 institutions when presented with that requirement? Well, first, this did not refer to Morningstar or S&P Global. They had zero problem with it. However, we did get these kinds of responses. We got, that's interesting, I see, we'll get back to our group. And we knew that they may have been talking about either maybe genuinely discussing our approach with their group, or at times we got the sense that they may have been going back to their drawing board and figuring out if they were allowed to hold crypto legally, regulatory-wise. So we knew it was a bit early, and we took the risk anyway. One thing that we understood was that at some point in time, it's going to happen. That's just it. We offer unique data sets that offer unique signal, offer unique alpha, and there's going to be a few funds out there that participate. That's just the bottom line. That's where the world's headed, in the general direction of it being a crypto-centric world. So it's just a matter of time. So for us, we also wanted to do another couple of things, and that was to run a few tests. And we wanted to run these tests through a company called New Data. New Data served as the proxy for us, or better yet, the sandbox, where we could engage in customer discovery at arm's length with a form of separation or degree of separation, where we could test the waters a little bit. So that's what we did. These 10 funds came from New Data, and outside of that, 2 of them are referred to from a group that knew New Data. So it was the perfect place for us to kind of test the waters, and we took the risk, did that, and now we're going to engage in a bit of course correction and take on some real targets, which include Morningstar and S&P and the institutions that are associated with them. So our approach will be different. Our approach will be scientifically backed, and our approach will be recognized around the world as it will be published from world-renowned scientific institutions. And we will make sure that what we present will be the edge, or the alpha, or the signal, will be very clear, crystal clear, undeniable, inexcusable. The second part of this question is, when using the one-click thematic baskets for crypto, will each retailer operate as their own human-in-the-loop? In other words, will each retailer be able to tailor the levels of investment in each element of the basket, or will the platforms themselves play the role and tailor the investment to maximize returns? So this is a very good question. The tailoring of the basket, we call that the filtering of the basket. And the elements in the basket, we call them components in the basket, whether they're crypto or stocks. And the filters for the baskets can be lagging indicators. They can be homegrown indicators, in-house indicators that a group has developed. They can be indicators, custom indicators of all kinds, or filters of all kinds. The filters can be based on natural language processing, or topics, or contexts. So we're going to provide a whole array of menu items available to a customer that provide them with options for filtering. And not just to the institutional customers, but to the retail customers, of course. So you'll be able to filter in a variety of different ways, and of course, the crowd will be able to participate in providing filters. So we'll have a pool of filters available. And how you use those filters will represent a significant portion of your alpha, or a customer's alpha. So we'll definitely enable the ability for that. That's all part of the process here. Next, we'll move on to our strategy section, our final section. And we want to make a few comments on the directions that not just our company is going in, but a few others in terms of biosciences. In particular, we are noticing that a lot of companies are starting to focus on extending human lifespan, health span, human aging, diseases associated to human aging. As many know, some of our scientific collaborations are based on human aging and our research in the past with national labs. We think the space will get a little noisier, but for good reason. Solving for extending human lifespan, health span, and human aging will take a combinatorial approach from all scientific disciplines and technical disciplines. Solving for space biosciences in part solves for human aging, and solving for human aging in part solves for space biosciences. This is shown in the work with some of our scientific collaborators. There's a lot more to it when you consider the need for humans to live for 4 to 5 light years on their way to inhabiting another planet in the Goldilocks zone. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, one such approach was mentioned in our industry news section, and that was that Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, announced a new company named New Limit, a company that was built to extend human lifespan. So the space is certainly heating up, and within the crypto space. Now, our approach is a bit different. Our approach to participating or assisting scientific labs in solving for human aging involves different aspects of molecular biology, structural biology, cellular biology. So we are going to start a contest, a new contest. And we do intend to have contests on a regular basis. So this contest is like some of the past contests where we are offering 100 VXV to 3 answers, the best 3 answers explaining how 2 objects are related in a relationship network. A, how Vector Space Biosciences is related to human aging. B, how strong those relationships are, or that relationship. And C, in what context. So again, 100 VXV to the top 3 answers explaining how 2 objects are related in a relationship network. A, the 2 objects are Vector Space Biosciences and human aging. How are those 2 objects related in a relationship network? And B, this is the B portion of the question, how strong are those relationships on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say. And C, in what context? So choose a context, and you can describe in what context those relationships are related. One of the reasons we're having this contest is that it explains the core of what we offer as a company at Vectorspace. Biosciences. That's the end of our weekly conference call. We'd like to thank everybody for joining. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to join us online.